It's been quite some time since I've done a live stream. Got my Crocodile Dundee look here. If you guys recognize the hat, then you know. This hat is very notorious. Same thing with this hat here. If you don't know, it's also notorious. So I hope you guys can appreciate the work that me and my wife put in to this setup back here. We wanted to go with something a little bit more permanent, so I hope you guys are digging it. But we do have to put some like anti-glare, so I'm not gonna be like putting my password on the computer so you guys can see all my stuff or whatever. But you can't see the credentials anyway. But besides the point, got to get some anti-reflective film or something. So how's everybody's Monday going so far? Hopefully pretty good. Hopefully. We got a little bit of snow where we're at right now in Texas. So what a way to start off the new year, right? Very cold. All right. So just so you guys know, the wife and kiddo are finally here. I have been away for quite some time, but everything is settled now. Family's here, they're all settled, pretty much got majority of everything that we need. And now just kind of cruising now, and time to get back into making content. So without further ado, we'll kind of go through the list of things that we have here in the background. So this here is an article of a while back when we established the Fifth Circuit ruling, turn of driver. So that actually hit the newspaper. So that's going to be a picture of me in a little hat here. So it's a fun little article. I have two more newspapers. So this was like back in late 2017. So that's been quite some time. And then here we have frames here of all the lawsuits that we filed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lawsuits. There are some that are not up here, but they were settled before we could either file a lawsuit. They were wanting to pretty much get out of that before we even filed a lawsuit. So that's always the good news. Most important, what we have here is we have the Fifth Circuit ruling here, filed February 16, 2017. It's very, very important to me and dear to me. And this here is the permanent injunction against Corrigan. So, we have to kind of keep track and kind of remind ourselves like, hey, we have came a long way. We have accomplished a lot, and we still have a lot of work to do. So the frame at the top corner over here, this is the notice to have the oral argument of the Fifth Circuit, which was quite a feat for my attorney who has been practicing law for like almost 30 plus years. And this was his first oral argument in the Fifth Circuit. So that was a big milestone for him. And then this here at the bottom is the lawsuit against Corrigan, which is what we are going to cover today. So hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys got some popcorn, got some snacks, some drinks, because we're going to be sitting on this one and we're going to deep dive and break down a few things that we have learned overall. All right, so this here is the first video of the Corrigan that I kind of put together. Just to kind of give you some context and backstory. So HBO Matt hit me up and said, hey man, I got this video that you might be interested in. It's out of Corrigan, and for some whatever reason, they think that they can ban recording the police. And I'm like, how is that possible? Well, Matt said that they made an ordinance, and that really got my attention. So I got to watch the video, and man, I gotta say, the video was really, really, really disturbing. The video was shot by Steven. Steven was also on the lawsuit with me when we filed it. So we did we filed together. And I have to say, the stuff that he experienced was crazy. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and drop the first video here.
I'm just gonna have to ask you to stop recording now.
Let me know if you guys can hear that.
I can't. It's the police encounter. I have people watching live. So I'm just gathering matters of public interest. I'm a journalist, just gathering content for a story.
Yes, sir.
And that's it.
On July 23rd, I received a news tip about an incident involving a man named Steven in the Corrigan Police Department.
Dude, right now you can either go to jail or you can be fined. So you're going to answer my question because it is against our city ordinances to film. It says it clearly right there. It's clearly marked. You've broken our city ordinances. We had to change our laws for our privacy and security. You think it's fun to put us on the internet.
I'm not putting you on the internet. That's not even live, dude.
Then why are you recording that? You know what, man? Wait till the governor, dude, makes it actual state law. He's working on it right now.
What?
On the crap y'all been doing.
What?
You wait. You wait till the governor, man, makes a state law out of it. Right now it's just code. Right now it's just city ordinances.
Yeah.
This is
But wait till it
ridiculous.
makes a state law. Do you have a media pass?
I don't need a media pass.
That's not what the governor said.
I don't. You say it doesn't matter what the governor said. It's what the law says.
Can you guys hear that okay?
You understand that?
I know.
You're violating my civil rights.
There we go. Now it's coming out. I was waiting for you to go for it. Come on, sovereign citizen. Come on. Tell me what the law said.
So, so when I heard that, I was just really disappointed. And this is pretty much where we are when it comes to the education of basic law enforcement. A lot of people know that, you know, to go to school to become a barber, to be a massage therapist, to become a chef, these careers, these take a while to go to master. You have to go to school for years for these things. In order to become a police officer, it could take months. It could take anywhere between 6 to 9 months to become a full-fledged police officer. Now, it's unfortunate because the level of education that a lot of these police officers get is not suffice, because the amount of damage that these officers can do to the everyday citizen is damaging. It can be life-changing, because an officer doesn't know the law. They can arrest someone. That person can lose their job. They can lose their house, their property. They can destroy a family, things of that nature. From an illegal arrest to planting drugs to just pure retaliation. These are the things that we face every day as the average citizens. And I'm pretty sure not just the US has the same situation. This problem is nationwide and countrywide. It's actually worldwide. There's this issue is all over the place. Now, what you see here is Richard. This is the Corrigan officer. I do have his file here. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up, Richard. I'm going to go ahead and download this bad boy. I probably should have downloaded it before I started the stream, but that's okay. You guys still be able to see it. And this is public information, so anybody can get a hold of this. So this is Richard. This is the individual that you saw screaming, "Wait till the governor makes it a law that you guys can't record. You think it's fun to put us on the internet? Oh, I was waiting for you to go there, you sovereign citizen. We were waiting for that to come out." Well, this is Albert Richard, Corrigan officer. So if you see here, this is the service history for Mr. Richard. As you can see, he has been bouncing back and forth between several police departments. So on Alaska Police, he was there for 5 months. Then he went over to looks like he went to a sheriff's office here for 2 months as a temporary jailer. Then he became a police officer promoted 2 months. And then he went back to Onalaska Police for 6 months. Then he went to Corrigan for 4 years. And then went back to Onalaska for 5 months. And then went back to Corrigan for 3 years, 7 months. And it appears that looks like there's not a gap here. So they say he's not a full-time police officer as of October 14, 2022. So it looks like he's part-time for 1 year and 2 months. So as you can see here, you know, what people would refer to cops like this as a gypsy cop, you know, bouncing back and forth between different departments, not staying at that particular department that long. It can become problematic. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and continue. So this was Mr. Richard. He was also included in a lawsuit.
Just call me a sovereign citizen? Yep.
He was detained and threatened with arrest if he did not identify himself for violating the city ordinance. Evidently, there's no recording allowed inside their police vehicles. But from Steven's video, he wasn't inside or recording through the window of the police vehicles. I recommend watching the linked video for more context before proceeding. After reviewing the video, I searched the internet to see if I could find any mention of the city's ordinance, but I came up empty. It became clear that I would have to gather more information from the source directly in a journalist capacity. I would be able to gather B-roll footage and request an interview about Ordinance 8.600 and its purpose. Hi, is anyone there? Hi, I just had a question. Is there an officer that I can speak to about one of the signs you have on the building here?
Give me just 1 second.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to make sure, this is very important to note here, that when we went to before I went to Corrigan, right, it's not like I was looking for trouble. It's not the case. I went to Corrigan because I couldn't get any answers about the sign that they had. There was no documentation. When I called, I didn't get an answer. I didn't really much get a response. So I went to Corrigan in a journalistic capacity to investigate. And pretty much this is what happened to me. And this can happen to anybody. So I'm guessing as long as we don't go beyond this point, we should be okay, according to this document here. I'm going to be standing outside. I'll wait for an officer if he wishes to speak with me.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Do you know if there's an officer coming or?
Well, right now they're on a traffic stop.
They're on a traffic stop? Okay. Thank you. Check this out. City ordinance. No pictures, no video or pictures taken inside patrol car. And there's another city ordinance here. So I'm pretty sure you guys, now you know where this sign came from, right? We were not kidding when we asked the city of Corrigan to include the signs in our lawsuit. So we were not joking. And in fact, they did sign the back of them. I'm pretty sure Steven did show the signatures on the back of his sign. I don't want to take it down. Maybe I could. Let's see. Hopefully I don't destroy anything. Okay. So like you see here, they actually did sign the back of it. Maybe the glare is too bad. Can you kind of see it a little bit? But yeah, so they did end up signing the sign. So that was a big surprise, to be honest. Did not think they were going to follow through on that, but they did. But if you take a look at it, there's also another city ordinance, the same exact one.
Hello, how are you?
All right, good. Are you the officer that's going to speak with me, or you got something else
I
going
can
on?
speak with you.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't record over here, city ordinance.
Yeah, I saw that here. Okay, this is Officer Brown. Let's see. Let's pull up his file. Ready? Download this bad boy. All right, Mr. Brown. Let's see what we got here. So it looked like Mr. Brown, Tracy M. Brown. He was with the Corrigan Police Department for 1 year and 11 months. And it looks like he quit, or maybe, I'm not sure if he got terminated or resigned. looks like he resigned on October 12th, 2021. Now, if I look over here, the lawsuit that we filed was in March 2023. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get Mr. Brown to sign our sign. So, maybe we might have to make a trip to his new department, which is Cleveland Police Department here. Looks like he's been there since October 19, 2021. Maybe he can sign our Corrigan sign. Maybe we can make a video out of that. Who knows? But again, if you look, it also tells you the courses that the officers completed as far as like a part of getting their peace officer license. And it's honestly, you know, when you look at it, there's some very detailed stuff here. But you would think there's something on here. Okay, so racial profiling, civilian interaction training. Okay, interacting with drivers deaf or hard of hearing. So it looks like there is some sort of training here that these officers do get. Constitutional law. Interesting. And that's from Texas Municipal League. So for some of you guys that don't know, the state of Texas have what's called TML, which is pretty much the insurance for a lot of cities. They insure cities and they represent them in some legal issues. Now, if TML is teaching these officers the constitutional law and how to avoid violating people's rights and costing the city money in these lawsuits, you would think that these officers would get it, but sometimes that's just not the case here. So you see, like here, it's the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. So yeah, it's pretty much what's the word I'm looking for? Basically insurance. But there's a lot of cities that have it named differently. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it'll probably come to me later. But as you can see here, these are just general courses that officers have to complete in order to get their peace officer license. And honestly, it's a lot of, it looks like a lot of hours completed. But if you look at it here, looks like it took him a little over a year there. A year, 2 years. Yeah, it looks like he might have took a couple of breaks or whatever, because there's some times where I've seen some of the courses taken in a shorter span of time and completed at a faster pace. So it looked like Mr. Brown, you had plenty of time to learn. Let's see what you learned here, buddy.
Yeah. The city ordinance. So is that like an arrestable offense, or is that an offense that is like a citation?
It could be both.
It could be both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if the city ordinance is unlawful? What if that's like in violation of a federal law?
No, you can take it to court and fight it.
Take it to court. What if it was already taken to court?
First Circuit relied on its own authority, so that would require you to point us to our prior authority that said filming the police is protected First Amendment. Where have we said that yet? I mean, this may be the right case to say it.
Well, first I would say it's the right case to say it.
But that's different than clearly established already.
Well, I would say that if you read the analysis in American Civil Liberties Union versus Alvarez.
That's the Seventh Circuit. Where have we said it?
I'm sorry, what, Your Honor?
Where has this court said it?
This court in 1982 adopted the Supreme Court precedent that you have a right to gather news by any means. It cited multiple examples. One of them involved films to gather news about public officials. And in that case, the court said the public has no less a right under the First Amendment to receive information about the operation of the nation.
Hey, hang on. I saw something interesting in the chat. Crap Metro Observer says, can you recommend a civil rights attorney to sue APD for arresting me for filming them? Are you referring to Austin PD? There's a couple of APDs here in Texas. If you want, please email me and we could probably get you some assistance here. So just let me know. And I need to pay attention to chat. I see you guys in here.
Nation's courts, then it has to know how other governmental agencies work and to receive other ideas and information. Videotaping the police station is no less a method of determining how the police stations work.
The trouble is all around the country, the new apps, the ACLU stuff, the police watching, it's all new. And courts are struggling everywhere with the balance between public safety and your First Amendment right. Police haven't, may be our problem, but I don't see that in this circuit we've yet told police, you can be filmed anywhere, even the front door of your police station. I don't see that we've said that.
I agree they have not said that specifically, Your Honor.
Okay, well then these officers would probably get qualified immunity.
And unfortunately, that's just how qualified immunity works, and that's just how the court works. It's unfortunate. If a law is not clearly established at the time of the incident, then most likely officers will get qualified immunity, and your case most likely will get dismissed, which is exactly what happened in my Fort Worth case, which is we sued on the First Amendment and Fourth Amendment claims of they violated my First Amendment right to record and my Fourth Amendment right to not show my identification. However, the district judge threw out the First Amendment claim saying that officers will get qualified immunity because there was no established right to record at the time. However, the Fourth Amendment claim, they would not get qualified immunity on that because there was already standing on that. It's Texas v. Brown, 1979, pretty much stated that this issue with showing ID has already been taken to court, and it's already been fought, and the courts have already made a decision, and it's been established. So at that point, my Fourth Amendment claim could proceed. However, since the First Amendment was thrown out in district court, we appealed it to the Fifth Circuit. So there's going to be 12 appeals courts. So ours is the fifth, which covers Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. This allowed us to argue that so that way we could therefore have a ruling for Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. It was very important for us to get this through because it's not going to help if people keep getting arrested left and right, and there's no remedy for these peoples who are getting our rights violated. So this is what Turner v. Driver accomplished for a lot of people who record the police or just happen to be in a situation where they're recording an encounter for themselves, and the officer just says, you can't record or you can't do that, or just makes up some kind of nonsense to just prevent that person from recording. So I can say for a fact that the Turner v. Driver case has been used thousands of times in other cases, and it's been used in other people's individual cases as a controlling authority, saying that it's already been established at the time of this incident, so therefore the officer should not be entitled to qualified immunity. So that was the importance of Turner v. Driver. So instance, here I am talking to his officers, letting him know, putting him on notice, hey, look, it's already been established. Look, man, we've already taken it to court. Are you still going to enforce this unlawful ordinance? I'm going to back it up just a little bit so you can kind of hear pretty much what I said here. So I'm going to back it up here because you can hear me warn the officer, like, what if it's already been taken to court? Because he told me to take it to court. He's pretty much saying, hey, go ahead and sue us. We'll take it to court. So I'm guessing that constitutional law that your Texas Municipal League, the education there was just not clicking there, because they're probably not happy that you invited a lawsuit when you could have easily said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to prevent you from filming. Maybe we can talk it up to our city manager and go from there. There's a lot of avenues you could have gone through to avoid the lawsuit, but you pretty much said openly, yeah, just go ahead and take it to court. It's crazy.
Or is that an offense that is like a citation?
It could be both.
It could be both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if the city ordinance is unlawful? What if that's like in violation of a federal law?
No, you can take it to court.
You could take it to court. Yeah, go ahead and sue us. Just go ahead. You could take it to court.
Take it to court. What if it was already taken to court?
First Circuit.
What if it was already taken to court? Let's see what he says. I'm going to skip this because this is the part where I said it was taken to court, and you can hear the argument there.
Would probably get qualified immunity.
I can give you a card here.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
pretty much already been established.
Mm-hmm.
Turner versus Driver, that's a case law. That's a federal case law.
All right.
And it's for the Fifth Circuit that covers Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to ask you to stop recording.
And he doubled down. It's like, I got to just ask you to stop recording. No, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the education that some of these officers get is just not enough. It's amazing that these people can be put out here on the street, and these are the people that can change your life in an instant. So it's crazy. So again, I'm covering all my bases here. I've asked about the ordinance. I stated how it's unconstitutional. I also stated that it's been to court, and I've also gave the court case to the officer. This is the officer that ended up leaving Corrigan. He went to another department. So this officer here, Mr. Brown, he went to Cleveland Police Department. So again, everything has been given to this officer to make a educated decision, to make the smartest decision in this instance, and he doubled down. It's crazy. Yeah, I hear some people keep calling him Uncle Fester. Don Swell said Uncle Fester has an IQ below 80 or an ego over 9,000. I love the DBZ reference there, buddy. But yes, it's also, it just becomes a pissy match, and these videos should be used as a training purposes for law enforcement. Like, hey, you can be recorded at any point in time, period. It can happen. You just got to get used to it. Suck it up. You're in the public view at all times. You have a bunch of eyes staring at you. What's the difference with the camera staring at you? It's no difference. So, no, it's Cleveland Police Department. It's actually in Texas. It's actually near Houston. I think it's like north. Probably like, let me see. Actually, you could probably pull it up on the map here. So here's Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, and here's Houston here. So yeah, it's north of Houston, next to Conroe. And let's see how far away from Corrigan. So it looks like he's not that far from Corrigan. Corrigan's just right here in this area here. I'm not sure if you can see my map, but we'll just do to Corrigan. So it looks like he's about 50 minutes away from Corrigan. So it looks like he's found a new home.
No.
You got to ask me to stop recording?
Yeah.
I can't. It's the police encounter. I have
Okay.
people watching live.
All right.
So I'm just gathering matters of public interest. I'm a journalist, just gathering content for a story.
Yes, sir.
And that's it.
All right.
And
No problem. You got your driver's license, ID?
do I have an ID?
Yes, sir.
No, I don't.
All right. Can I get your name and date of birth?
I'll just tell you my last name is Turner, which is on the back of that card.
Oh, it's on here? Okay.
It is. I gave you a business card.
So you have
So,
a good,
so is it the, is it the police
Oh, go
station
ahead.
I can't record?
Yes, sir.
I can't record the police station.
No video or pictures. No authorized person. Yeah.
The signs do not prohibit recording a police station. It clearly says no video or pictures taken inside patrol car and no unauthorized personnel in or around patrol cars. That would make it nearly impossible to walk through the front entrance of the police department.
I have to say, whenever I did this, when I went to Corrigan, I did lose sight of how I used to go audit, man, I was really rusty here, but I did cover my bases very, very well. I'm pretty much giving all the necessary information to the officer for them to make the correct decision. It was a while ago, a long time ago, when I first started doing this, I noticed that there was a lot of people who go out and they would record and they would verbally tell the officers the law and everything of that nature. However, the officers can argue saying that I didn't believe what the person was telling me was the truth. So I thought, what if I not only told them the law, but gave it to them on paper for them to read, and then they can search it up themselves. So that's another thing that I kind of incorporated to kind of like cover my bases, to be like, hey, look, you've been notified. So it's not like you're just making a random decision. You're not just making an arbitrary decision based on zero information. I'm giving you some sort of context here so that way you can make the best decision going forward. So now whatever you do, what if it's ego driven, or hey, the city has me by the balls, I have to do what they say, then that's up to the city and that's up to you. We can definitely go to court for it. It's no problem. I've been doing it for many years. I have several lawsuits filed on my behalf, and I have no problem continue doing it. In fact, some of these lawsuits don't mean anything really, because the same cities are still doing the same thing over and over and over again. Now, I'm just saying, hopefully, if I just make a trip back into your town and I happen to be recording and you guys want to do the same thing over and over again, and we have to file a second lawsuit, I can probably guarantee that you will not get qualified immunity, because we've been there before. You had an opportunity. The city should have told you. And here we are again. I'm pretty sure that sets the city up to be liable as well. So this is why education is very important. This is why history is important. This is why if you don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And we are going to keep doing it over and over and over again until they get it. And then once they get it, hopefully they will understand who really has the power when it comes to First Amendment activities. So that is the whole point. Now, I will say that the city of Corrigan has a lot of issues, not just with their officers, but with the mayor, with the police chief, and city council. There's a lot of weird things going on in that town. I will say that. And I will say this, there are more lawsuits coming. My part's done. We got the permanent injunction over there. So that's going to pave the way for other people going forward, because again, you didn't learn the first time and you could choose to double down. You keep doubling down, then it's going to cost your town money. And eventually you're not going to have a police department at this rate. So it's up to you. You either get with the program, learn the law, respect people's rights, or we'll go to court. And it's not going to be pretty.
You having a good day so far?
I mean, hopefully I don't get arrested for doing something that's legally, established.
That is correct. In the city of Corrigan, the police chief is married to the mayor.
Batosai. Yeah. Batosai.
Batosai.
There you go.
Okay.
As I said, I'm not looking to get arrested. I'm just gathering content for a story. What's that?
Botasai?
No, that's the name of my channel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
See, me over here, this whole time I did not think I was being detained at this point.
What's your first name?
That's all the information I'm giving at this point. I'm just letting you know that I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
And you're reporting.
Yeah, he's like blah 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 blah. See,
Are you in and
it's
around
ego.
this area, walking around?
I walked through the front door here to ask to see if I could speak to someone about the signs that you have here on the door.
You can't video or take pictures. It's against city ordinance.
Inside patrol car, right?
Right, and you can't be in around No unauthorized person in or around patrol vehicles.
Right, but the front door's right here. Unless you have another entrance that I can walk to avoid being next to patrol cars, then I can do that.
It don't work that way.
It don't work that way. See, as you can clearly hear me try to articulate other options, other avenues, and these officers just don't care. This here is Foster. Let's see. We got Foster's information over here. Let's see. Yes, we do. All right. Get over here, Foster. Let's see what we got. Hold on, let me back up so you can kind of put a face to the image here.
That way?
No.
Okay. So
Got his name and date of birth?
No.
Yeah, let's do that. Where is my PDF? Foster. So Foster has been with Corrigan since November 2019. It's been there for 4 years. And it seems like all the officers are completing their same education at the same academy here. Angelina College Police Activity. Angelina College Police Academy. That's that police activity. I'm getting confused with the YouTube channel there. So Law Enforcement Academy. So we're off to a bad start here. So we already got 3 officers here that have no idea what the law is, and are one of them's convinced that you're a sovereign citizen just by exercising your First Amendment. So, I mean, we might have to reach out to Angelina College here and figure out what's going on. You know, is the level of education going downhill here, or are we just not focusing on some of the most important things, which is honoring your oath, not violating people's rights, you know? I mean, the oath that you took when you sworn to become a police officer, does that mean anything? What does that mean? So we might have to take a look. So here we go again.
What's your date of birth? You got an ID?
No, I just told him who I was and what I was doing.
Your last name.
Because you're
Turner?
Turner?
Oh, am I being detained right now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm being detained.
Yes, sir.
See, that's when it hits me right there. I was like, I'm being detained. I thought, honestly, this was a whole cordial conversation. He was just, you know, this wasn't a detainment. Like, this wasn't a detention. If it was a detention, I would have probably given less information. But being that this was I thought, a consensual conversation, that really changed the dynamic of everything. So this right here is exactly what I'm talking about, how I was completely rusty. This was my bad. I should have asked the most important question of all. Am I being detained? I should have asked that right when he asked me for my name and date of birth. That probably would have set everything clear. That probably would have just set the stage for, okay, I need to prepare to either get arrested, citation, or maybe this officer's smart enough and just says, okay, no, what you're doing is legal. I'm just, you know, I'm just asking. It's just a request. So I should have asked that in the beginning.
You got to put this down.
Okay, so they're taking my. Okay, let me put it. I'll put it down. I'll put it down.
Turn it off.
I'll put it down.
And this. Because you're breaking city ordinance.
Okay.
Take that off.
Take it off. It's recorded. I don't want to.
I still got that same hat. I'm surprised I still have it too. I wonder if I still have that body cam. It's probably somewhere in the closet. Yeah, I still have that same body cam. It's in my car.
No threat to you guys. I'll put my hand down.
And this is one thing that I want to share with you guys. This is just something that I kind of thought of, and it makes sense because this is something that I can see becoming a court issue one day, and it's going to determine, you know, did you consent or did you truly, you know, state that you did not consent? And what I mean by that is, let's say an officer so you see with the body cam, right? I have the body cam on, right? And this is going to play in different scenarios. So I'll give you two for right now. So for this scenario here, I have my body camera on. The officer tells me that I can't record. I need to put my cameras down, right? So if I take my camera off and I turn it off, the officer's not turning it off, I'm turning it off. So am I consenting, or am I just like, hey, I'm just doing what the officer told me to do? But they're going to be like, well, you didn't argue, you didn't fight, you didn't say you didn't want to do it. So what I decided to do was like, hey, if you want me to stop recording, you're going to have to take it from me. I'm not going to do you a favor and take the body camera off and shut it off. You're going to do it. I'm telling you, I'm not touching anything. I'm going to record. I don't want to stop recording. You're going to have to do what you want to do. I'm not going to resist in any way. So this is the most important thing here. So I want to back up here so that way you guys can see it.
Take it off. It's recording. I don't want to touch it. Take it off.
So it's recording. I don't want to touch it.
No. Like I said, I got my hands up. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm no threat to you guys. I'll put my hand down. So they're taking my camera off at this point. Yes.
So again, showing that these guys have no consent to take my stuff, but I'm not going to assist you so that way you can take my items. I'm not going to assist you into taking my items from me. So that way, when it comes to an argument of consent, that there's zero argument to be had when the discussion is to be made whether, well, Mr. Turner voluntarily gave his camera and turned it off. Well, then there becomes the debate about consent. So the thing that you guys have to realize when it comes to law and legality, word jargon and scenarios play a huge part. So there's sometimes you have to think a couple of moves ahead so that way you can be prepared. Now, let me give you the second scenario here. The second scenario, let's say you get pulled over, right? And the officer wants to search the car. Well, who has consent? Did the officer get you? Did the officer give? Did the driver give consent? Did the passenger give consent? It depends. Now, let's say no, the officer did not get consent at all, period. And the officer just says, nah, go ahead and step out of the car. We want to search you. So they search the car. Now, I might be wrong about this. I might be wrong. So someone might check me on this, but hey, I'm just going to say it anyway because this is something that I saw. An officer has no right to go into your pockets when they're patting you down for weapons. Like, you're just being detained at this point. It's not a full-blown search. You're not being arrested. So at that point, it's just a Terry frisk. We're searching for weapons because it's a traffic stop. It's our safety. We want to make sure that you don't have any weapons. If it feels like a weapons, then we're going to remove the weapon from you. But if it's not a weapon, if it's your wallet, your keys, whatever, we should not be going in your pockets, period. Now, when an officer asks you to take your shoes off, right? Are you consenting at that point? That comes up to a question because that happened in Cedar Park where an officer asks you, hey, can you take your shoes off? Take your shoes off. Can you take your socks off? Can you flip your socks in and out? It's kind of one of the things like you're searching yourself at that point. The officer's not even searching at the point. You're searching for yourself. You're voluntarily at that moment searching yourself because an officer asked you to do it. So I can see that becoming a problem when it comes to, well, they gave consent or he volunteered to do it. So what I'm going to do, or I probably should say, is if they want to do it, let them do it. Don't resist. Don't assist. Hey, that actually has a nice rhyme to it. Don't resist. Don't assist. Yeah, I like that. So basically, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. If, officer wants to search, hey, don't resist. Don't assist. We'll just keep it that way.
So you're going to shut my camera off too?
Oh, man, we need
No
your full
recording.
Name.
You're shutting my camera off.
We need your full name.
You need my full name?
Yes, sir. So you get a citation, you're gonna sign, and then you can be on your way.
So you're giving me a citation?
Yes, sir.
Hey, can we get those likes up? I only got 13 likes on this video here on this live stream.
Okay. All right. Under threat of arrest, I will give you identification.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So if I don't give you ID, I just want to make it clear. If I don't give you ID, I will be.
So I want to make sure. So there's an important part here, And I do see a lot of new auditors catch heat from this. So I'm going to be the one to break this down for you guys here. So I want you guys to listen very, very carefully here of what I'm going to say. There's 275 likes. I guess YouTube's broken because I only see 13. That's wild. I might need to refresh this here. Let me see. Oh, there we go. 356. I guess that's it. Thank you guys. I appreciate the likes. That's very much appreciated. All right. So I want you guys to listen very, very carefully what goes down while the cameras are still recording before they turn them off.
No sign, and then you can be on your way. So you're giving me a citation?
Yes, sir.
So if I don't give you ID, I just want to make it clear. If I don't.
So here we go. We're making it clear. All right, you guys listening? I'm gonna turn it up here real quick so you guys can hear what we're about to say.
If I don't give you ID, I will be arrested.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just want to make it clear. If I don't give you ID, I will be arrested. Just making sure we have that on record.
All right. Under threat of arrest, I will give you identification.
Okay.
Okay.
You got an ID card?
I don't have an ID card on me. He checked.
So I said, under threat of arrest, I will give you identification. Now, I will say this. I've seen a lot of new auditors, battle with the comment section about people saying, why did you give your ID? You shouldn't give your ID, or you should probably stay at home because, if you're just going to give your ID over that easily, then you probably shouldn't be out recording. Well, let me make this very clear and very easy for people so that way they can understand, the mindset of what's going on at that point. So this is in Corrigan. For me, this is in Corrigan. This is over 3 hours away. There's a lot of people that don't know that I'm currently in Corrigan. So there's that. And if I were to go to jail, I probably would not be getting out anytime soon. So there's a lot of things that I have to think about. And on top of that, I had to get back to work the next day. So this was not one of those, I could probably afford a trip to the jail if they want to go that far. Sometimes you don't even need to go to jail to establish a standing or to show that there was a violation. You don't have to go to jail. I mean, will it add to damages? Sure. But it's not necessary for you to bring a case to the courts. So there's things that go on. There's things that people have to do. They have prior obligations. And sometimes sitting in a jail cell may not be the best bet at that particular moment. Now, I would just be grateful that there's people out there recording and they're putting the videos on the internet for people to see, so that way they can understand what's going on in their town, what's going on in their city, or what's to be expected if they were to go visit that town and city. You have to understand there's a lot of people that don't want to go to jail. I mean, there's nobody who wants to go to jail. Nobody wants to sit in a jail cell all night and all day. Nobody wants that. But just to be clear, you don't have to go to jail to have a standing when it comes to presenting a case in front of a judge. So just to make it clear.
Check me, pat me down. I don't have it on.
Last name Turner, T-U-R-E-U-R.
You get dropped off here, or you drove? I'm not gonna answer the question right now. I'm being detained, so I'm using to answer questions.
What's the first name?
My first name?
Yeah.
My first name is Philip. P-H-I-L-L.
We got over 500 viewers. Let's go. So at this part, I'm giving my date of birth, my name. Clearly, they made it clear that I was going to jail if I did not identify myself. So under threat of arrest, I did give my information. I had to go to work the next day, so I could not afford to lose that work. I could not afford to just not show up. In my line of work right now, as a network engineer, can't afford to do that. So I did what I had to do, got my citation, and I pretty much got out of Dodge. Well, not really. I actually went back and I sat there and got Whataburger. So here we go. This is going to be the next day, I believe. So I actually called the city of Corrigan, spoke with the manager and court about the citation I received. The citation I received, I think the officer thought it was cute to mark me down as a female as my gender, or I'm not sure if that was a mistake or if that was intentional, but it was definitely immature. So the officer gives me a citation, and I call the city the next day to figure out what are my options, because there's no way in hell I'm paying this fine for this BS citation. It's not happening.
Monday, July 26, 2000, I had with Darren Nitz.
This is Mr. Husband.
Hello. Yes, I was trying to get a copy of one of your ordinances that you have. It's 8.600.
Yeah. Did you give the lady your email address so we can forward it to you?
Yeah, but I just want to confirm if she got it, because I'm not sure if that's something that you would be able to send like over immediately, or is that something that I would have to submit like an open records request for?
Well, if you send your request through the email, then she'll send it over to you.
Okay. Is there a way that I can just double check and confirm that she got the right email? But that's pretty much afterwards, after this conversation. But you say you're the city manager?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right. The reason why I'm asking is, I'm sorry?
What's your email? I've seen all the stuff, sir. There's no need to rehash it. I know what's going on.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah.
If you have something,
Yeah. So my
if you have,
yeah my name.
fine.
I'm sorry.
I said if you have something you want to add to it, then that's fine. But I mean, I've seen the videos. I know what's going on.
Yeah. So
I'm aware of that.
gotcha. Yeah. So my name is
Unfortunate.
Philip Turner. I was the one involved in one of the incidents. It's just that I'm kind of concerned that I have a ticket for it. So I'm just, needing to figure out what I need to do, since I don't have any intention of paying the ticket. I have every intention to fight it, but I just, out of, fairness, I just want to see what the ordinance says, so that way I have a good understanding what I'm up against, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Okay, so what is your email? Okay, all right. From what I see, the ticket's probably going to be dismissed because it's not the ticket, right? So
I'm sorry, you said the ticket's going to be dismissed?
it'll probably be dismissed. I think you checked email on there instead of mail, so I mean that's kind of good.
So I'll say this. So this is the city manager. He did say the ticket was going to probably be dismissed, and it was. A couple hours later, the ticket was dismissed. Whenever they got wind of this detainment and the videos being put out there, and believe it or not, whenever we put these videos out, it's really not going to do anything unless the viewers really take it in and share and voice their concerns. That's where all the real change is happening, right? So we can put these videos out for people to see, but if no one really cares, if nobody really takes action by voicing their concerns or making calls like, hey, I saw this disturbing video. From what I understand, this is unlawful. How can you guys have an ordinance like this? When you have enough calls like that coming into your department or to your workplace, right? There's going to be some sort of action taking place, because that's something that's very severe. So the videos itself, it's not going to do all the work. All the work comes from you guys that are viewing the videos, leaving comments, sharing your experiences, and we all come together and we just pretty much like, hey, if you get enough people calling in or pushing this issue, like, hey, you guys really messed up. How are you guys going to fix this? And it's going to be something very, very hard to ignore. So that's why I always say, the viewers, the subscribers, the followers, that is where the real power is, right? We're all coming together for a one unified purpose, and we are standing on that. So that's the beautiful thing about YouTube and social media platforms, because people can get together and be able to affect change this way. And this is just one way to do that, because one voice is not loud enough. But, if you have like anywhere between, thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, subscribers, you can really make some change.
Okay. And then would that also be the case for?
I can't speak for the judge. I'm just talking on what I have to.
Okay. And then and it's not just me. I think there was another individual who was out there yesterday. His name is Stefan. Is his case a little similar?
Yeah, I don't know anything about his. I haven't seen anything.
Okay. If you're curious.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Are you recording this?
I am.
Okay, never mind then.
He was about to say something. He had to catch himself.
But it's just for my protection, because I have to face court for this.
I get it, and I have to protect myself and the city as well. So.
No, I understand. I'm not going to ask you any other questions beyond that. I'm just here to try to get the ordinance, and that way I can, figure out what I need to do beyond that.
After reviewing the document, I posted the ordinance.
So this is the ordinance that they pretty much had, and it's ridiculous. So I think within 2 days of the citation that was issued to me, the citation was dismissed, and they took down the signs on the police department. So you can see here, all the signs are gone, and they repealed the ordinance. So they got rid of it and said, we're not going to undo this unlawful ordinance at all, period. And I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I was like, this was like a while back. I did not believe that no city in their right mind would pass such a blatant unconstitutional ordinance without any legal counseling. And still to this day, that is just my opinion. I don't believe that they got legal counsel on that ordinance. This is just what happens when the mayor and a police chief are married together. That is too much power to go unchecked, and then you can do whatever you want at that point. And then you have city council members that'll probably just do whatever you want, because at that point, you're going to face retaliation against the police department because you're going against the mayor, and the mayor's going to be upset. And then she's like, my husband's the chief of police. So it's like one of those things, like, what do you do? So when you have power like that, it's going to draw some eyes. It's going to make people a little antsy. They're not going to like that. So what happens is that you're going to have outsiders come in and investigate. You're going to have outsiders come in and be the voice of the people who are afraid to speak up because of retaliation. Now, me, am I going to get retaliated sometime? It might happen. I'm not doubting that at all. I might get retaliated against one of these days, because there's going to be people out there that don't like what you do. But that's part of the fight. So we'll see. The day that it happens is going to be the day that you guys know. So be sure that everything's going to be recorded, and that it's going to be all over the internet, because that's just how I do things. I'm transparent in what I do. So after that was dismissed, we ended up filing the lawsuit against Corrigan. That was very interesting. I think I went through 2 different lawyers for the Corrigan issue. But we ultimately went with Brandon Grable. He's an excellent lawyer. Shout out to his team and his staff. They did an excellent job, not only researching all the facts and the statistics when coming to put all the facts together for the complaint, but they did a good job, doing it very thorough and doing it on an on-time manner, so that way we can file on time, because we were really getting close to getting that deadline for the suit. So Brandon Grable, I would definitely use him in the future. If you're in the San Antonio area, Brandon Grable is the law firm to go to. So that's what I would definitely recommend. And if you guys need any sort of legal assistance civilly in the city of San Antonio, reach out to Brandon Grable. I'm pretty sure he'll hook you up. But most importantly, make sure you record all your police encounters. The more evidence you have, the easier it is. If you don't have anything, it makes it a little bit hard. And then the uphill battle from there is going to be a little bit more difficult. So the more video evidence you have, the more facts and evidence that you can present, then the better you are at finding representation. So how long have we been streaming for? I don't even see a time on here. 64 minutes, about an hour. All right. So I must pay attention to the chat here because I haven't been showing you guys any love. So I need to do that. So let me see the chat. How you guys doing, man? I haven't really connected with you guys in over 2 months, almost going on 3. I got to connect with some of you guys. What's going on? So V8 Fastback, what was the outcome of the lawsuit? The lawsuit resulted in a payout of $45,000 from Corrigan, and that the court issued a permanent injunction against the city. So that injunction is going to be with the city permanently, pretty much stating that they did violate the First Amendment right and that they were liable. There was one other thing. Yeah, so that's what this one here is. So this is the permanent injunction from Corrigan. So we got that ruling. It's very, very important. And in fact, when I spoke with Brandon, he said in all his practice that he's never seen a city agree to a permanent injunction. So again, when my lawyer up there, Carl Taffer, first time going to Fifth Circuit for oral argument. And then down here, permanent injunction. So this is what happens when you try to present all the facts, all the laws, all the information to these officers, and they still double down on their mistakes. It's like they're not really taking in the information that you're giving them. So I can tell you for a fact that I think I will get arrested out here, especially in Killeen. I don't think Temple. Maybe Belton, Harker Heights, not sure. Nolanville, I don't really know the area that well, but judging what I'm seeing with Killeen, I can guarantee you that there's probably a 90% chance I'm going to get arrested. So there's a lot of oath breakers out there, I will say that. So yeah, that's pretty much the outcome of the lawsuit: permanent injunction and a $45,000 payout from the city. Let's see. Yeah, well, what is the status of the lawsuit? The lawsuit's final, Kenny. So pretty much it was just a $45,000 payout. And right here, the judge issued a permanent injunction against the city, in which the city agreed to doing so. Yeah, I heard Killeen is, yeah, there's a lot of issues with Killeen right now, especially with government. There's a lot of issues in the government right now. You're right, because I heard some issues with the housing department with misuse of funds or something like that. Really haven't dug deep into it, but I can tell you there's that sound is worth taking a look at. We got Manuel Mata in the house. What's up, man? Fort Worth, Texas watching. You know, Fort Worth, I'm gonna have to come back and take a visit, man. I heard you guys are messing up out there. Let's see. Steve's Sledge, what happened to the cop who said he's been doing this a lot longer than you've been doing that? Is he still doing this? Yeah, I'm still doing it. So that lawsuit was over here. So I've actually filed a lawsuit against that officer and the other officers that were actually in that situation where they said that pretty much I didn't know my rights and that the YouTube education is pretty much inferior to the law degree that they had from whatever 6 to 9 month program that they got their law degree from. So apparently the officer was like, I've been doing this a lot longer than you've been doing that, which is also false because I actually been doing a lot of cop watching for a while. In fact, maybe he has been a police officer longer than me, but still, just because you do something longer than someone doesn't mean that you're better. We'll just put it that way. You're more knowledgeable, you're better, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just due diligence, and sometimes it's just knowing, the ins and outs of things. So yes, that situation, I filed a lawsuit against those officers, and I think that settled for X amount of dollars. I really can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of the money that I used for these lawsuits ended up funding the Turner v. Driver appeal in the Fifth Circuit. So, I didn't make a lot of money off of this stuff because most of it was taking from these and putting it into these, because anybody can tell you filing a lawsuit's not cheap, and two, if you appeal anything, that's going to cost more money, so it's not cheap. And doing it on a part-time job while you're in college, doing this, it's not easy. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so this is my trophy wall here. It's probably going to be more added to it, honestly. And you know what's funny? So when someone's going to see this news article, right, and someone's going to probably say some stupid, dumb stuff like, Batose has a news article up here that says gunman fires multiple rounds at police station, as if I'm like trying to glorify that. But what they don't know is that right underneath it, there's my picture, right? And next to it is the ruling. This is from the Star Telegram in Fort Worth. This is the newspaper in Fort Worth, Texas, where they actually covered that the Turner v. Driver made it through the Fifth Circuit, and it was actually established law at the time. So a lot of that was, pretty much kind of going on at that same time period where all that was going on. So was the sign part of the lawsuit? It definitely was. This was definitely part of the lawsuit. I'm kind of glad we got it. It was kind of a joke because it was me, Brandon, our lawyer, and Steven. We went out to lunch one day. It was like during the mediation process, but we left mediation, we left court, we went to lunch, and then we were just talking about the ins and outs of the discussions and stuff like that. I can't get into the details. You're not supposed to talk about what happened in mediation. You're not supposed to. So while we were at lunch, we were saying like, hey, maybe we should ask for the signs. Steven brought it up, and I was like, there's no way they'll probably give it to us. And then Brandon was like, you guys are joking. Like, are you guys serious? You guys kidding? And then before we knew it, that's something that they were willing to agree with, and that's how it happened. The $45K was split between three of us, so me, Brandon, and Steven, so we got $15K each. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going through these comments here. All right, let's see. What are your thoughts on auditing in the UK? I've never been to the UK before. I have no idea what their laws are like. I believe that their laws are somewhat similar to what we have here in the US. But I have no idea how their court systems work. I'm not even sure if I'm pretty sure they have qualified immunity, but I'm not sure if it works the same way as the states have it here. Like if it has to be established law and that type of jargon. So would I audit in the UK? If I became knowledgeable on the whole process, I probably would. But until then, I have to stay in the States. Well, the wall of lawsuits is just going to serve as a reminder, like, this is not a joke. This is something I take serious, and this is something I'm very prideful about as far as, standing up for the right, standing firm on what I believe in. And if you do not exercise your rights, you will lose them. So this is just a reminder that it can be done. It's not impossible. And in fact, the battle that I took to get where I'm at now was not easy. There's been people who've been following me since the very beginning, where I was just some college kid working a part-time job with a handy cam that I bought off of eBay, and I just happened to record some police a traffic stop or something like that, and I ended up having to get pulled over right after that, and I had to film my own traffic stop. So that's how it started. So it was an uphill battle. But I will say this, the turning point, or I would say the biggest point of where it all became like I became passionate about it, is when I was still in college. I was taking a part-time courses during the summer. At that point, the state of Texas made it mandatory that we learn, that we take U.S. government and Texas state and local government. So those are two courses that we needed to take in order to get our degree. I ended up taking those courses over the summer, and those two courses opened up my eyes, especially when I read the book, Convicting the Innocents. It was one of those things where that I learned. Let me see. This is the book here that I read. I did my whole paper in U.S. government. This is what I did my paper on. My paper, they said this essay or paper was 70% of your overall grade for U.S. government. So this is the book that we had like a choice. We had like a selection of books that we needed to pick in order to do our essay on, which is 70% of our grade. And I chose this book. When I read this book really opened up my eyes on how the court system and police and just everything when it comes to fighting in courts and talking with police, how things can go wrong. And if you're going to be an auditor, I strongly recommend reading this book, or if you're an auditor, I strongly recommend reading it. This is a book that definitely opened up my eyes when it came to recording. So just, you guys can't even see it. Let me switch. So yeah, this is the book here. It's by Brandon L. Garrett, Convicting Innocents, Where Criminal Prosecutions Go Wrong. It's a very good book. It's a very good read. And this is something that I strongly recommend for anyone. So this is definitely something that, when my kids get of age, this is something that I'm going to have talks with them. So if you have loved ones, nieces, nephews, sons or daughters, this is something that's very, very important to go over with them. Be very mindful when you talk to law enforcement, or if you're, talking in front of a lawyer or prosecutors or anything like that. This is something very, very important that you need to know. Let's see. Have I had any Taco Bell lately? No. The last time I had Taco Bell, I threw up. Can't do it. We the people for you. What state? I'm not sure what you're talking, man. You gotta provide a little bit more context than that, buddy. Says, have you ever had positive feedback from police regarding your audits? James Hudson, yes, I've had a lot of feedback. And some of it I just kind of kept it, confidential, because there's a lot of police officers that will either email me or message me and say, hey man, I appreciate what you do. I like what you do. Keep up the good work and things of that nature. I would love to make a video about it, but because of the whole thin blue line thing, I don't want the good ones out there to face retaliation for things of that nature, or don't want their co-workers to look at them differently, because the whole goal is that we want as many good of these officers out there than there are bad. And the way that I see it right now, the bad officers are just kicking all the good ones out of there. But right now, I think we're getting to a point to where The bad ones are kind of just floating around, bouncing around between different departments, or they're leaving, and then you have the, different officers coming in there. Hopefully they're doing the right thing, but it all comes down to that first year or two when you're in your new department. Like I would imagine that when a police officer becomes like, hey, I got my certification, I want to become a police officer, I want to serve my community, I want to do the best. And then their intentions going in may not necessarily be the same intentions when they get mixed in with the culture there. So sadly, that's just how things end up. Like, hey, that's just not how we do things here. We do it this way. Or hey, we generate revenue. We're not really protecting community. We need to generate revenue. We need to write more tickets. We need to increase our police budget. We need to make more money. We got to make more work overtime to make more money. Things of that nature. It just becomes a, you're just feeding off the taxpayers by just, doing unnecessary things, and you're just going to tax them more, and then you're going to write citations to make it even worse. So it's just crazy. You're just going to extort people. So, and then some departments, it actually becomes a quota. It becomes a system to where they use it to determine promotions and things of that nature. This thing it goes on. It happens. It's not. It's kind of like one of those unspoken rules. It happens. There's a system in place to where they promote people who write the most tickets, get the most arrests, or things of that nature. It happens. Asset forfeiture and qualified immunity must go. I 100% agree. If I ever became, some sort of an important figure in the government to where I could abolish those things, I definitely would. I wouldn't even bat an eye. Dan say, Mary, turn-of-your driver didn't give compensation to finding. No, turn-of-your driver did not give any sort of compensation as far as like monetary damages. But it did establish the ruling that we were really wanting to get. So I think overall it did more than what we wanted it to do, which is we wanted other people to use turn-of-your driver in their cases, in their situations, so that way that once it was established, qualified immunity would not be a question at that point when other people's cases go to the courts. Let's see. You got any more questions? Yes, that's correct. We the people, that's correct. We filed it in the state of Texas, but we did it on a federal level. All lawsuits we filed were on the federal level in the state of Texas. But the Fifth Circuit, the courthouse is in Louisiana, so we went to Louisiana to do the oral argument. Well, Cooter, turn-of-your driver is a federal law, but it's only for Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. So they're broken down into regions. So it's on a federal level. Trust me. Just to put it in perspective, there's 12 appellate courts, there's 12 appeal courts, and there's one Supreme Court. Just everybody knows the Supreme Court is the entire U.S. It's the entire United States of America. So you need one court. And then below that one court, you have 12 appellate courts. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12. So I'm at the fifth level. I'm at the Fifth Circuit at this point. So Fifth Circuit is just a step under the Supreme Court. So it's still federal. Yeah, turn-of-your driver has been used thousands of times. I've actually had attorneys hit me up and say, hey, we actually used your case law in this particular instance. I think CJ hit me up one time and said, hey, man, he showed me where my case has been used thousands of times. It's crazy. Tree jogging. How come a cop can't touch your car, but a dog can, and they damage your property when a dog scratches it? I'm not sure where you get that from. A cop definitely can touch your car. If you haven't noticed, if you watch body camera footage, you always see a cop approach the car from the rear view, and they would always touch it like on the tail light or on the rear of the vehicle. They always do that. So the cops definitely can touch your car, but you probably don't realize it when they're approaching. Can I talk about one of the times that my turn of drivers was used? Sure. Let's do this. Keller, Texas. Turner v. Driver. Let's see. So here, we'll do this here. So here's one time that my lawsuit was used. So this was a former Keller officer who ordered driver's dad arrest. Pepper spray, pleads guilty. Oh, so it looks like he was criminally charged too. So if you guys don't know about this situation, this, I'll just read it. A former Keller police officer who resigned last year after the city agreed to a settlement with a man who accused the officer of excessive force and of profiling his son has pleaded guilty to official oppression in the same case. Blake was a sergeant with the Keller Police Department when he pulled over Dylan Puente on August 15, 2020 for making a wide right turn. Dylan's father soon arrived at the scene in a separate vehicle and started to record what was going on from across the street. That's when video released by the department showed, looks like Officer Blake ordered another officer to arrest the father and pepper sprayed him. The sergeant was demoted and he eventually resigned, and the city agreed to settle the boy's father for $200,000 in February 20th, 21. So this was one of the cases. I know the attorney in this case. What was his name? It was actually one of the attorneys that we were talking when we were going to do the lawsuit with Corrigan. The attorney for this case was one of the attorneys we were going to go with. But man, I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. It's been a while. So as you can see, this has been like 2 years ago. So in this case, this was one of the cases where Turner v. Driver really helped him because, again, Turner v. Driver established that you did have the First Amendment right to record police officers at the time of the incident. And the only reason why he was pepper sprayed and excessive force was because he was standing across the street recording and the officer told him to leave and he didn't leave. He said he had the right to record. So the argument was, a violation of, the first, the fourth, excessive force and profiling. And I guess that officer is not an officer there anymore. So let's see. So it looks like he had pleaded guilty, but it looks like he had a plea deal. So if the former sergeant completes a diversion program, the judge will later dismiss the case, and the program can last anywhere between 9 to 2 years. If he fails, he will be sentenced for the offense. A Class A misdemeanor is punishable by a maximum fine of $4,000 and jail time of up to 1 year. So looks like he took a plea deal and probably lost his peace officer license. Oh yeah, he must surrender his peace officer license and join the county's public safety treatment program for rehabilitation. So this is what happens when you lose qualified immunity. You lose your license. So this was one instance for a fact that let me see if I can find the name. I swear, like I can remember his name. I got Scott Palmer. That's what it was. Scott Palmer. That's his name. He's actually out of the Dallas area, Dallas Fort Worth area. All right, let's see. Can you unblock my Aaron Queen accounts? I have to check. There's probably a reason why I blocked it in the first place. Too bad I can't get royalties in my case. Oh man, that's wild. Oh, so Cajun Randy, can you explain why there was no award to you for the Turn-of-you driver Fourth Amendment violation? All right, so here's what happened. So in order for us to appeal it, the district court, so we filed a lawsuit in district court. They threw out the First Amendment claim and they said that the Fourth Amendment claim can proceed. So what we did was we appealed the First Amendment claim, and the district court agreed to stay on the Fourth Amendment claim, meaning like, hey, if you guys are going to appeal it, we appeal it, and then whatever decision that the appeals court make, it'll be taken back down to the district court, and we will resume the lawsuit at that point. So at the district level, the fourth proceeded, the first were thrown out. We took the first, we appealed it to the Fifth Circuit. The Fifth Circuit agreed that, hey, you do have a First Amendment right to record police officers, and we'll use this case to establish that. Now, the rest of the claims can go back towards back to district court. Now, part of the settlement agreement was that, well, I'll say that, let me back up just a little bit. So once the Fifth Circuit made the ruling saying that turn-of-you driver, we're going to use that to establish that you do have the First Amendment right to record, we had to pay the defendant's cost for the appeal levels. We didn't want to do that. And also, the officers didn't want to lose qualified immunity on the Fourth Amendment claim. So we made an agreement at that point saying, hey, actually, there's one more thing. So once I'm sorry, I missed this very, very important thing. So after they made the ruling, they were going to send it back to the district level. The officers' lawyers were going to appeal the decision. So you can appeal a decision in the appeals court. So usually how it works is that there's three judges. Three judges will sit on a panel and they will listen to an argument. They will make a decision. If they don't agree with the decision, then the case will be presented to all the judges in that court, in the Fifth Circuit court. So all judges will look at it and they would vote. So we already got the ruling. We didn't want to jeopardize the other judges to, like, no, we're not going to use this case to establish that you have the First Amendment right to record. We're going to throw it out. We didn't want to risk that. And we also didn't want to pay the officers fees because, again, I was in college. A lot of the lawsuit money that I was using back here ended up to fund the appeals. So what we did was we agreed with the other officers that, hey, if you drop the lawsuit, then we won't appeal it and you won't have to pay our fees. It worked out hand in hand. We both pretty much got what we wanted. The officers escaped liability at that point. We got turn-of-you drivers established. We didn't have to worry about that being appealed. And we also didn't have to worry about paying fees for the other party for the appeal. So pretty much that was the main reason why there was no payout for turn-of-you driver. In fact, didn't need one. Pretty much turn-of-you driver was good on its own. All right, let's see. Did they use turn-of-you driver in the George Floyd case where the video was loose? That I do not know. I don't know the very specifics of that, to be honest. Our boy is going pretty good, man. Let's see. Says, what is your opinion? This is from Brooke. What is your opinion? If I drive a car onto a hospital parking lot and it has cameras that can't be turned off, and there's a sign that says no recording on hospital property, can you be charged? I would check to see what kind of hospital it is. I believe if it's like a VA or something like that, there's some specifics to it. I'm not sure, but if it's just like a private general hospital, I can't see there being some sort of law that prevents you from doing that. But I would check to see if there's a law that prevents you from doing that, or if there's or if there's something that's can be a criminal offense for you doing so. But honestly, in my opinion, and this is not legal advice, I just kind of think it might be just a generic sign like Corrigan put out that they just kind of made up and created a law behind it that was unconstitutional. But it's a difference because hospitals tend to be private. Corrigan, which is a city, tends to be public. So usually private, if it's private property, certain rules can be enforced. And by you being on private property, you're effectively agreeing to the rules there. When will judges be replaced by artificial intelligence? That would never be the case. I don't think that would ever happen. That's like asking the government to give up part of their power. They're not going to do it. Yeah, Minnesota is not in the Fifth Circuit. Correct. That's not. But if you were in Minnesota, you could reference another case in another circuit as far as persuasive authority, meaning like what I mean by that is you can actually say, hey, I'm in the Fifth Circuit, right? But I'm going to reference this other law in another circuit, and I'm going to use that to kind of persuade the judges to make a similar ruling in this case, and maybe establish a similar case that happened to another circuit to this one. That's kind of what happened with us in Turner v. Driver. Turner v. Driver, we referenced the guilt case. We referenced, and there was a couple of them that we did reference that already established that you had the right to record police officers. So there was a few of those that we did, and that's helped us as well. Oh, ain't touched on the Round Rock lawsuit so far. What happened? The Round Rock lawsuit. Let's see, where we at? Round Rock. So Round Rock lawsuit is this one here. Yeah, so that one, I got detained for taking pictures of the vegetation in front of the police station. I told the officer, the sergeant, that they violated my rights, and he invited me to go file a lawsuit. Again, I don't get why officers say, well, you could take it to court, well, go file a lawsuit. But then when you take them on that, it's kind of like, damn, I opened up my mouth, or I probably should have kept my mouth shut. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like this is the type of attitude that a lot of law enforcement has towards the average citizen. They don't think you're going to do anything. They think you're powerless. They think you're not going to take any sort of action. So, and then when you do, it's kind of like an oh shit moment. Like, oh shit, he actually did what he said he was going to do. Or I gave him advice and he took me up on it. Damn. So that one ended up being settled. I'm not sure how much that was. That might have been like $6,000. But again, also that money was used to pay for court costs for Turner v. Driver, because that, trust me, part-time, college student, I didn't have the money or the funds to do all that. But I also used the GoFundMe too. That helped out a lot. You definitely look happy. Glad family life is treating you well, friend. It is. We're actually going to watch a movie here after I wrap up with the live stream. So I appreciate you guys still being here with me. I saw another. So can Turner v. Driver be at any time by defense? I'm not sure, Cajun. I'm not sure if I follow your question there. You might have to rewrite that. Could Congress make Turner v. Driver cover the entire country instead of a few states? I can't. Well, no, I don't think they can. I think there's different bodies. There's checks and balances there. So I don't think they could do something like that. It's kind of getting hot in here. Might want to take the hoodie off. We do got some ice, so that's probably melting pretty quick outside. Oh, so can turn of driver be appealed at any time? No. Once the judges make a ruling, and it's been finalized, it cannot be appealed. Like, pretty much you have like a window of opportunity, right? Like, let's say the judges make a ruling, you have a window to appeal that decision. Once that window is closed, that is it. It's final. So that window is long. That window is long and gone. If can turn of driver be used by anyone during a case? Yes, turn of driver can be used by anyone in any case. However, it's going to be referenced differently depending on the region or the location. Now, if you're in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, you can use that as controlling authority, meaning that this is controlling and persuasive are two different. You should know the difference between those. Persuasive means, of course, you're going to persuade that, hey, you could rule in his favor because other courts have ruled in this similar fashion. So it could be a possibility that we could use this case to have a similar ruling. Controlling authority is like, hey, look, it's already been established. There's nothing that can be disputed. Like, this case pretty much controls the whole narrative of this situation. Like, this case outlines all the facts and all the facts that are very similar to this case, which is very similar. So this is why the officers should not have qualified immunity, meaning that controlling authority, meaning that judges have already ruled and there's no debating about, the specifics about what's said case. So controlling authority has much more weight than persuasive authority. Yeah, the cops were going to appeal the full bench, but we came to an agreement saying that, well, if you don't appeal, we'll drop the lawsuit. And they say, well, if you drop the lawsuit, then you don't have to pay us the fees, in which we all agreed. All right, so I'm gonna use this one as my last question. It says, what auditor, past or present, would you like most to do an audit with? Could I only choose one? If there's only, I've worked with a few auditors already, so I'll leave them out. So, but if there's one person that I would like to do an audit with, Jeff Gray on your oath will definitely be one. I think he would be at the top of the list. And the reason why he's at the top of the list is because I was actually watching Jeff Gray before I got started. Before I even started recording police officers and everything, I was watching Honor Your Oath. So he kind of opened my eyes up to this when I went down the YouTube rabbit hole of auditing. So yeah, Jeff Gray is definitely up there. Freeman, definitely. I would do an audit with Freeman. It's just like a handful. It's been a while. It says, when you sue, who issues the check, the city or the insurance company? Well, it depends. I think if it's a certain amount, they might have to go with their insurance company, but I think the city can also issue a check too. But most importantly, if they have insurance, which they should, the insurance would pay it out. But I don't get to see the check. It's the lawyers that gets to see it, so I'm not sure who makes it out. All right, everyone. I appreciate you guys joining the live stream. It feels great to be back. I'm definitely going to do another live stream. The next topic is going to be on the new law that Texas passed. It's already creating quite of the confusion already. As if the Texas Penal Code wasn't already confusing enough because officers think you needed to ID, and a city attorney called it a red herring, but now they made it more complicated. So I was going to cover a live stream about that and see and show just how complicated they made it, and how there are some parts in that law that's very vague. So we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe out there. I know we're getting a lot of cold weather and a lot of ice and snow in some parts, so please be safe out there. Until then, you guys stay safe, stay vigilant,